Hey everyone, welcome back to the TPC podcast. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give us a like if you're enjoying these deep dives. We're all about making classic literature accessible and, dare I say, a little bit fun.
Today we're taking a deep dive into Beowulf, a story of epic battles, larger-than-life heroes, and monsters that would make even the bravest warrior think twice about that late-night snack run.
So, we're talking Vikings meets Game of Thrones, but with poetry. Sign me up. But I gotta be honest, the whole epic poem thing can be a bit intimidating. Where do we even start?
It's true. Diving headfirst into the original text can feel like trying to decipher ancient runes. But the beauty of Beowulf lies in how it's been reinterpreted and translated over the centuries. We can explore its themes and stories without needing a degree in Old English.
Okay, that makes me feel better. But there's tons of different translations out there. How do we even know which one to pick? It's like choosing between 1,000 different flavors of mead.
Well, that's part of the adventure. Two translations in particular offer drastically different vibes. Seamus Heaney's version is considered the classic. It's lyrical and sticks pretty close to the original style. If you want that authentic fireside bard experience, that's a great place to start.
Okay, so Heaney's like the traditional mead. Aged and complex. What's our other option?
Maria Dahvana Headley's translation is like a shot of adrenaline, straight to the heart of the story. She uses modern slang, even drops an F-bomb or two, and imagines the narrator as the seasoned barfly spinning a yarn. It's Beowulf for the 21st century.
Whoa, that's a bold choice. It's fascinating how one story can be told in such different ways. But before we get too lost in the translation debate, let's rewind to the actual tale. Beowulf kicks off with this legendary king, Scyld Scefing. He basically sets the gold standard for kingship in this warrior-heavy world.
Scyld's story is almost like a blueprint for successful leadership, even in today's world. What's remarkable is that he starts as a foundling, a baby abandoned in a boat, adrift at sea.
Wait, a foundling? That's not exactly the royal treatment I'd expect.
Right. But it highlights this idea that true leadership isn't about bloodlines or privilege. Scyld rises to power through his own strength, cunning, and charisma. He unites tribes, conquers enemies, and establishes a dynasty that's remembered for generations.
So it's like the ultimate rags to riches story.
Yeah.
But with more chainmail and mead halls. He basically builds his own empire from scratch.
Exactly. And he does it by cultivating loyalty and forging alliances. He's incredibly generous, rewarding his warriors with gifts and praise. He understands that true power comes not just from brute force, but from building a strong network of supporters.
Okay, I'm getting some serious business guru vibes here. It's like, build a strong team, reward their loyalty, and conquer the competition.
Yeah.
But instead of spreadsheets and board meetings, we're talking about epic battles and feasts that last for days.
Exactly. Scyld's story sets the stage for the values that define this warrior culture: strength, courage, generosity, and the strategic building of alliances. These aren't just heroic qualities. They're essential for survival in a world where danger lurks around every corner.
Speaking of danger lurking, that brings us to Heorot, this legendary mead hall built by Scyld's descendant, King Hrothgar. I'm picturing something like a massive Viking party palace, with roaring fires, overflowing tankards, and warriors boasting about their latest exploits.
Heorot is more than just a party palace, though. It's a symbol of Hrothgar's power and the prosperity of his kingdom. Imagine a structure so grand it could rival any modern skyscraper. Built from the finest timber and adorned with intricate carvings, it's a testament to human craftsmanship and a beacon of civilization in a world often shrouded in darkness.
Okay, so it's not just party central. It's this grand statement about Hrothgar's reign. He's basically flexing on his rivals, showing them how successful and powerful he is.
Precisely, and that's what makes the arrival of Grendel, our resident monster, so significant. He's not just a random beast causing havoc, he's a direct threat to Hrothgar's power and the stability of his kingdom.
Okay, let's talk about Grendel. Getting some serious monster under the bed vibes here. What exactly is this creature, and why is he so intent on ruining Hrothgar's good time?
Grendel is described as the shadowy figure, lurking in the misty moors. Driven by jealousy and rage, he despises the laughter, the music, the light emanating from Hera. It's like he's this embodiment of chaos and darkness, threatened by the joy and order of human civilization.
So he's like that grumpy neighbor who always calls the cops when your music's too loud. But instead of noise complaints, he's ripping people limb from limb. Yikes!
Exactly. And his attacks on Heorot aren't just about violence, they're symbolic. He's trying to extinguish the light, to plunge the kingdom back into fear and darkness. It's a direct attack on everything Hrothgar has built.
This is getting intense. It's like a battle for the soul of the kingdom. with Heorot representing everything good and civilized, and Grendel embodying the forces of chaos and destruction. So, who's going to step up and stop this party crasher from hell?
That's where our hero, Beowulf, enters the scene.
Ah,
Gah.
Beowulf, the ultimate Viking warrior, ready to take on any monster, no matter how terrifying. What makes Beowulf so special? Is he just a really strong dude with a cool name?
He's definitely strong, but there's more to it than that. Beowulf is almost superhuman in his abilities, boasting of incredible feats of strength and unmatched combat skills. He hears about Hrothgar's plight and decides to sail across the sea with his band of warriors, specifically to confront Grendel.
Talk about a long commute. But what motivates him? Is it pure altruism? Or is there something else driving him?
That's where things get interesting. Beowulf is driven by a desire for glory, to etch his name in the annals of history. He wants to be remembered as the ultimate hero, the one who vanquished the monster that no one else could defeat.
Okay, so it's not just about saving the day. It's about building his own legend. There's a bit of ego mixed in with that heroism.
Definitely. And that tension between selfless heroism and the pursuit of personal glory is one of the things that makes Beowulf such a fascinating character. He's not just a cardboard cutout hero. He's a complex individual with his own motivations and flaws.
That's what makes stories like this so compelling. Perfect heroes are boring. Give me a character with flaws, with ambition, with that drive to prove themselves. But before we get too deep into Beowulf's psyche, let's talk about the main event, the showdown between Beowulf and Grendel. This is what we've all been waiting for.
The battle between Beowulf and Grendel is one of the most iconic scenes in literature. It's brutal, visceral, and takes place in the heart of Heorot, the very symbol of what Grendel seeks to destroy.
So we're talking full-on monster brawl, smashing furniture, tearing down tapestries, with mead spraying everywhere. Sign me up for the front row seat.
Imagine the scene. The once grand hall, now shrouded in darkness, the air thick with tension and fear. Grendel bursts in, expecting an easy meal, but he's met by Beowulf, standing defiant, ready to fight. And here's the kicker. Beowulf vows to fight Grendel unarmed, using only his bare hands.
Whoa, hold on, no weapons? That's taking confidence to a whole new level. Is this guy crazy? Or does he have some secret Viking superpower we don't know about?
It's a move that showcases Beowulf's incredible strength and courage, but it also speaks to that inherent desire for glory. He wants to prove he's superior to the monster on every level, even without the aid of weapons. It's a bold statement, a calculated risk that could either cement his legend or lead to his demise.
Okay,
Yeah.
on the edge of my seat here. Does Beowulf pull off this insane stunt?
The battle is epic. They grapple in the darkness, each blow echoing through the hall. The poem describes the sounds of bone snapping, flesh tearing, the very walls of Harrow groaning under the strain of their struggle. It's a fight for the ages, a testament to Beowulf's raw power and determination.
This is giving me some serious David versus Goliath vibes, but with way more blood and guts.
And just when it seems like Grendel might overpower Beowulf, our hero delivers a fatal blow, ripping the monster's arm clean off.
Whoa. Talk about a finishing move. So, Grendel's down for the count. Is the party back on at Heorot?
Not so fast. While the defeat of Grendel is a major victory, it's only the first chapter in Beowulf's saga. Remember that theme of vengeance we talked about? Wow. It's about to rear its ugly head in a way that will challenge Beowulf like never before.
Oh, that doesn't sound good. What kind of vengeful force are we talking about here? Don't tell me they have to fight Grendel's evil twin or something.
Worse, they have to face his mother. And let me tell you, she is not happy about what happened to her son.
Oh, man. Every hero knows you don't mess with a mother's revenge. But before we dive into that swampy showdown, let's take a quick break. We'll be back in a flash to continue our deep dive into Beowulf. All right, we're back and ready to dive back into the murky depths of Beowulf. Last time, we left our hero basking in the glory of defeating Grendel. But it sounds like the celebration might be cut short.
Victory is often fleeting, especially in the world of Beowulf. Remember, this is a story about confronting darkness, and sometimes that darkness takes on a very personal, very vengeful form.
Okay, you've got my attention. What's this about a vengeful force?
Well, Grendel's mother isn't exactly the type to let her son's death slide. She's this formidable creature who embodies the wild, untamed aspects of nature. Imagine her dwelling in the misty swamps, shrouded in shadows, her rage simmering like a cauldron about to boil over.
Yikes. She sounds terrifying. But it's interesting that you describe her as part of nature, not just some purely evil monster. Is there more to her than just blind rage?
That's one of the most fascinating aspects of Beowulf. It challenges us to look beyond simple labels of good and evil. Grendel's mother is driven by grief, by a primal desire to protect her offspring. In many ways, she's a mirror image of the warrior culture that celebrates vengeance and the paying of blood debts.
So it's like looking in a distorted mirror. We see the same impulses reflected back at us, but twisted and amplified. It makes you wonder who the real monsters are in this story.
Exactly. And that complexity is what makes Beowulf so timeless. It forces us to confront the darkness within ourselves, the potential for violence and vengeance that exists in every human heart.
Okay. But enough with the philosophical deep talk. Let's get back to the action. How does Beowulf handle this angry mama bear? Does he try to reason with her? Maybe offer her a cup of tea and a sympathy card?
I don't think a hallmark moment is going to cut it this time. Grendel's mother is a force to be reckoned with, and she's coming for blood. She launches a surprise attack on Heorot, seeking vengeance for her son's death.
So much for that victory celebration. It sounds like round 2 is about to begin. Where does this epic showdown take place?
This time, the battleground shifts from the grand hall of Heorot to the murky depths of a swamp. It's a descent into the primal unknown, a place where the rules of civilization no longer apply.
Okay, so we're trading mead halls for murky swamps and firelight for shadowy depths. It's like the whole mood of the story has shifted, become darker and more ominous.
Exactly. And this shift in setting mirrors the inner transformation Beowulf undergoes. He's no longer the confident hero swaggering into Heorot. He's facing his own mortality, venturing into a realm where even his incredible strength might not be enough to guarantee victory.
Man, this is intense. It's like Beowulf is crossing over into the underworld, facing not just a monster, but the primal forces of nature itself. Does he go alone? Or does he bring back up for this swampy showdown?
Beowulf gathers his loyal warriors, and they set off on a perilous journey to confront Grendel's mother in her lair. Imagine them navigating through dense foliage, the air thick with mist and the stench of decay, the silence broken only by the croaking of unseen creatures. It's a far cry from the boisterous revelry of Heorot.
Okay, I'm officially creeped out. It's like they've stepped into a horror movie. What happens when they finally reach Grendel's mother's lair? Is it some monstrous cave filled with bones and spiderwebs?
The lair is described as a submerged hall, a hidden chamber at the bottom of a murky lake. Imagine the darkness, the pressure, the feeling of being completely cut off from the world above. It's a place where even the bravest warrior might feel a shiver of fear run down their spine.
This is giving me some serious underwater Indiana Jones vibes. So, how does the fight go down? Does Beowulf bring his scuba gear and a harpoon?
Beowulf descends into the depths armed with his sword. Hunting, a blade said to have been forged by giants and imbued with magical power.
Okay, now that's what I'm talking about. A magical sword forged by giants. This fight just got a whole lot more epic.
But even with hunting, the battle is brutal and unforgiving. The water hampers Beowulf's movements, and Grendel's mother, fueled by rage and the home court advantage, fights with a ferocity that rivals her son's.
It's like an underwater wrestling match with life or death stakes. Who gains the upper hand?
The poem describes a desperate struggle, a clash of titans in the watery depths. Beowulf lands a blow on Grendel's mother, but his sword, Hrunting, fails to pierce her hide.
Wait, what? His magical giant forged sword can't hurt her. That's not a good sign.
This is a pivotal moment in the story, a moment where Beowulf's confidence and his reliance on earthly weapons are shaken. He's facing an opponent who can't be defeated by brute force alone.
So, what does he do? Does he just give up and become fish food?
No. Beowulf, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds, never gives up. He finds a new weapon, a giant sword that's been hanging in the underwater hall, a blade so massive that only someone with Beowulf's strength could wield it.
Okay, that's more like it. It sounds like Beowulf is getting a weapon upgrade, just in time to turn the tide of the battle.
With this new weapon, Beowulf delivers a fatal blow, slaying Grendel's mother, and just when it seems like he's emerged victorious, he makes a startling discovery.
What kind of discovery? Don't tell me there's another even angrier monster lurking in the shadow.
This discovery is about Grendel himself, Beowulf. After slaying his mother, finds Grendel's lifeless body in the underwater hall, and decides to take a gruesome trophy.
Whoa, hold on. A trophy? What does he take?
Beowulf severs Grendel's head, carrying it back to the surface as a symbol of his triumph. It's a brutal act, a reminder of the violence and savagery that define this world.
Okay. That's pretty hardcore, even for a Viking hero. It seems like there's a darkness to Beowulf, a willingness to embrace the brutality of this world. That's both fascinating and a little bit unsettling.
That's the paradox of Beowulf. He's a hero who embodies both the best and the worst aspects of his culture. He's capable of incredible courage and selflessness, but he's also driven by ego, by a thirst for glory that can lead him down dark paths.
It's like those anti-heroes we see in modern stories, the ones who blur the lines between good and evil, who make us question our own moral compasses. They're fascinating because they reflect the complexities of human nature, the duality of light and shadow that exists within us all.
Exactly. And that duality is what makes Beowulf such a compelling character, even centuries after his story was first told. He's not a perfect hero. He's a flawed individual who grapples with the same challenges and temptations that we all face.
So, Beowulf emerges from the swamp victorious. But it sounds like this victory has come at a cost. He's seen the depths of darkness, faced his own mortality, and embraced the brutality of his world. How does this experience change him?
Beowulf's battle with Grendel's mother marks a turning point in this story. He's no longer the young, brash warrior seeking glory. He's a seasoned hero who has stared death in the face and emerged forever changed.
Okay, so we've got a wiser, more experienced Beowulf now. What's next for our hero? Does he retire to a peaceful life of mead drinking and storytelling? Or are there more monsters lurking in the shadows?
Beowulf's story is far from over. He returns to his homeland, a hero, eventually becomes king, and rules wisely for many years. But fate, as it often does, has one final challenge in store for him, a challenge that will test his courage and his loyalty in ways he could never have imagined.
Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good. What kind of challenge are we talking about? Another monster, a rival kingdom, a political coup.
The final chapter of Beowulf's saga involves a creature as ancient and formidable as the hero himself, a fire-breathing dragon. And this time, the stakes are higher than ever before.
Okay, a dragon. Now that's what I call a worthy adversary. But why would a peaceful king risk his life to fight a dragon? Isn't that a job for younger, more reckless warriors?
The dragon's arrival isn't just a threat to Beowulf's kingdom. It's a symbol of the chaos that threatens to engulf the world. It's a force of destruction that must be confronted, even if it means sacrificing everything.
This is giving me some serious endgame vibes. It sounds like Beowulf's final battle, the culmination of his life's journey.
And like all great heroes, Beowulf must face his destiny, even if it means confronting his own mortality.
Man, I'm on the edge of my seat. But before we reveal how that final showdown plays out, let's take another quick break. We'll be back in a flash to finish our deep dive into Beowulf. All right, we're back for the final chapter of our Beowulf saga. Last time, we left our hero facing his ultimate challenge, a fire-breathing dragon. This sounds like the stuff of legends.
It is. And remember, we're not just talking about any ordinary lizard here. This dragon is ancient, powerful, and represents a primal force of chaos and destruction. It hoards treasure, breathes fire, and its very presence threatens to consume the kingdom.
So, it's like the ultimate symbol of greed, power, and the destructive forces that can unravel even the most stable society. But why is this dragon suddenly showing up now? Did Beowulf accidentally steal its favorite coffee mug or something?
The dragon's arrival isn't random. It's triggered by a seemingly insignificant act of theft. One of Beowulf's subjects, driven by desperation or greed, steals a precious cup from the dragon's hoard.
Oh man, classic rookie mistake. Never mess with a dragon's treasure, especially if it involves fancy drinkware. But why would a single cup trigger such a catastrophic reaction?
The theft of the cup violates a sacred boundary, a pact between humanity and the forces of nature. It's a reminder that even the smallest actions can have unintended consequences, unleashing forces beyond our control.
So it's like that butterfly effect thing, where one tiny change can ripple out and create massive chaos. But why doesn't Beowulf just return the cup and call it a day? Why risk his life fighting this monstrous beast?
This is where we see the true depth of Beowulf's character. He's not just a warrior, he's a king, a protector, a shepherd of his people. He understands that the dragon represents a threat not just to his own life, but to the very fabric of his kingdom.
It's not just about personal glory anymore. This is about duty, responsibility, about putting the needs of others before his own safety.
Exactly. Beowulf knows he can't just appease the dragon. He has to confront it, defeat it, restore balance to the world. He's facing his own mortality, but he's doing it for the greater good.
This is giving me chills. It's like the ultimate test of a hero's courage and selflessness. But how does a king, who's probably seen his fair share of battles, prepare for a fight against a fire-breathing dragon? Does he raid the royal armory for the biggest, baddest weapons imaginable?
Beowulf, even in his old age, hasn't lost his warrior spirit. He gathers his most trusted warriors, dons his armor, and prepares for one last epic showdown. He knows this fight could be his last, but he faces it with the same unwavering courage he's displayed throughout his life.
This is like watching a seasoned boxer stepping into the ring for one final championship bout. You know they're going to leave everything they've got in the arena. But let's be honest, facing a dragon, even with the best armor and weapons, sounds pretty terrifying.
It is, and the poem doesn't shy away from the sheer terror of this encounter. The dragon descends upon the kingdom, scorching the land with its fiery breath, its roars shaking the very foundations of Beowulf's hall.
Okay, this is next level monster movie stuff. I can practically smell the smoke and brimstone. Where does this epic showdown actually take place?
The battle takes place on a barren hillside, a desolate landscape that mirrors the sense of impending doom. Imagine the scene: the sky darkened by smoke, the air thick with the stench of sulfur, the ground trembling under the dragon's weight.
It's like something straight out of an apocalyptic vision, a final battle between good and evil, with the fate of the world hanging in the balance. But didn't Shay Beowulf brought his warriors with him? Aren't they going to help him fight this beast?
This is where the story takes a tragic turn. Beowulf, driven by pride and a sense of duty, initially orders his warriors to stay back. He wants to face the dragon alone, prove his strength one last time.
Oh man, that sounds like a classic case of heroic overconfidence. It's like he's trying to relive the glory days of his youth, but forgetting that he's not as young and invincible as he used to be.
You're exactly right, and as the battle rages on, it becomes clear that Beowulf, despite his incredible strength and courage, is no match for the dragon's fiery power. His sword shatters, his shield crumbles, and he's mortally wounded.
This is heartbreaking. It sounds like Beowulf is about to become a martyr for his kingdom. But wait, you said he brought his warriors with him. Are they just going to stand there and watch their king get roasted?
This is where the theme of loyalty comes into play. While most of Beowulf's warriors, paralyzed by fear, flee for their lives, one young warrior, Wiglaf, refuses to abandon his king.
Okay, so we've got a true bro moment here. Wiglaf is like the ride or die best friend, the one who's got your back no matter what. But can he actually make a difference against a fire-breathing dragon?
Wiglaf, though young and untested, embodies the true spirit of a warrior. He charges into the fray, fighting alongside Beowulf, not to win, but to honor his king's courage and sacrifice.
Man, I'm getting choked up here. It's like that scene in a war movie where one soldier sacrifices themselves to save their comrades. It's about brotherhood, loyalty, about putting your life on the line for something greater than yourself.
Exactly, and together, Beowulf and Wiglaf managed to deliver a fatal blow to the dragon, slaying the beast but at a terrible cost. Beowulf, weakened by his wounds and the dragon's poison, collapses, knowing that his time has come.
Oh man, this is heavy. So Beowulf wins, but he doesn't get to enjoy the victory. That's a pretty bittersweet ending.
It is, but Beowulf, even in his final moments, shows incredible strength and wisdom. He passes on his kingship to Wiglaf, knowing that the young warrior has the courage and integrity to lead the kingdom.
So, even in death, Beowulf is shaping the future, ensuring that his legacy of courage, loyalty, and selflessness will live on. It's a powerful reminder that true leadership isn't just about power. It's about inspiring others, about passing on the torch to those who will carry it forward.
And that's the enduring legacy of Beowulf. He might be a figure from a distant past, but his story continues to resonate with us because it speaks to the timeless human struggles of facing our fears, confronting darkness, and striving to leave behind a world that's a little bit better than we found it.
Wow, that's a powerful message. It's like
Yeah.
we all face dragons in our own lives, those challenges
Yeah.
that seem insurmountable. But Beowulf reminds us that even in the face of death, even when the odds are stacked against us, we can choose courage, we can choose loyalty, we can choose to fight for what's right.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of stories like Beowulf. They transport us to another time and place, but they also reflect back our own humanity, our own struggles, our own potential for greatness.
Okay, so we've reached the end of our Beowulf journey. And I've got to say, it's been quite a ride. We've talked about monsters, heroes, battles, betrayal, loyalty, sacrifice, and the enduring power of storytelling. What's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember from this deep dive?
I think the most important lesson Beowulf teaches us is that even the greatest heroes are mortal. They face challenges, they make mistakes, they experience loss, and they eventually succumb to the inevitability of death. But what truly matters is how they face those challenges, the choices they make, and the legacy they leave behind.
So it's not about achieving immortality. It's about living a life that's meaningful, a life that inspires others, a life that makes a difference in the world. And that's something we can all strive for, even if we don't have to fight any dragons along the way.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe we'll be lucky enough to have a Wiglaf in our lives, someone who'll stand by us when the dragons come knocking.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Beowulf. We'll be back soon with another exploration of a classic work of literature. Until then, happy reading.